Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Power Up Your Onboarding and Operational Insights with Power Apps and Power BI. That's a bit of a mouthful. We're working with cameras off, mics off, but there is a Q&A. So if you have got any burning questions, just click into the Q&A at the top of the screen there, and you'll be able to put your questions in there. My name's Craig Pearson. I'm Sales and Marketing Director of Your IT department. If you don't know who Your IT are, we provide a complete outsourced IT department for small and medium-sized businesses. As I tend to sort of introduce it, we do everything from fixing the printer to working on the IT strategy and budgets and kind of everything in between. It's a bespoke service. It's not a one-size-fits-all. We do what our customers want us to do, all around that IT piece. Anyway, not too much about us today, but we're on a little bit of a mission this year to try and help people just get a little bit more value from their Microsoft 365 subscriptions. So we've done a series of webinars. These are about 20 minutes, half an hour at tops. We're trying to make them quick, digestible. And what we're trying to do within this is make them quite real uses of the apps, rather than having that high level look at things and going, oh, this does this and this does that and that kind of thing. Teams. And we also know from talking to our customers that they're quite often paying for an additional piece of software where there's actually something within 365 that could already do that job. It just needs a little bit of configuration. So we've partnered with the gentleman that you can see here, Eldon, and I've got you down today. I've describing you as a digital transformation and Power Apps wizard today. I've gone for wizard.
I like that, yeah.
So we're doing a little series of webinars. I'll give you links to the other ones. This is number 4, and today we're going to be looking at onboarding new staff, and then we're going to get into some operational insights with Power BI. So you definitely want to hear less from me and more from Eldon, so I will pass directly over to you, sir. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Craig, and thank you so much to everyone who's attended this webinar as well. So hope to bring some insights and also just some takeaways of some of the things that you could be doing to really power and rocket boost your productivity for your businesses and team members as well. So in the previous webinars, if you haven't seen them, we have been following a company that manages residential properties, and we have our lead project manager, shall we say. His name is John. And John has been looking for ways to really transport what he's been doing with his team. And what they've been doing is managing all of the properties that they have in their portfolios, where they have managers that are actually physically at the locations, and they have incidences that get reported into the business. So we've looked at how they can move away from Excel and move to SharePoint lists. Again, you can catch this up. And also how they can use Power Automate to automate notifications, automatic document creation. So we're going to carry on with that scenario today. So this will be the last part of that series, and then the next series we'll move on to just some other kind of scenarios as well. But yeah, so if what I'm talking about doesn't make quite a lot of sense, Craig will send the other videos where you can catch up and complete the story. But you don't need to catch up with that. Today's will be very informative in that anyway. So John, the property manager, is having another issue at the moment, which is his business has grown over time, and they've been doing very well. They've been getting more properties. They've also more properties, more issues. So a lot of people have been reporting other things. So this is now opened up a new can of worms for John, where he now realizes that he needs to recruit a lot more people, and he's recruited a few people, and just like the typical way of recruiting, whenever someone gets on board, he's been using pen and paper to track the details. And another issue that he's been having is that Once these new operation managers get on site, they're not really introduced into the rest of the team, and they're not really baked in well as well. And also, it's been really difficult for them to manage the documents that all of the operation managers have to read before they get on site. So this really has been causing, not a smooth experience for the new staff that have come in. And also John is just having an issue of making sure that when a new operation manager comes on board, they can quickly get started and quickly get something done. So again, in our scenario, John has started to look at the Office 365 stack to see what's available. So I'm going to share my screen, and Craig, do let me know if that comes across. Just give it a few seconds.
Yeah. We've got your desktop at the minute.
Absolutely. So as you can see here, I'm going to take the experience from the very start. This is obviously my Office 365 kind of hub and access here. So John realizes, looks into the waffle here, which is all of your apps that are available. And then he realizes he's got Power Apps. So what Power Apps is an application that allows you to create apps using low code. So essentially, it's just pre-built components you can put together to build an application for your scenario. So in John's case, he's realized that this solution might be perfect to create an onboarding app where he can, take people through an experience of onboarding, take them through the experience of being able to understand all the documents and being able to submit the data and also the evidence that's needed within that as well. So using this Power App, John was able to create this this app that you see before you. So this is the experience of a Power App if you've seen it for the first time. So these apps, they work on desktop, on your phone, and also on your tablet as well. So also they're security protected because people have to have your user account within your environment to be able to use this as well. So for John, this was a massive win because it just meant, he can just share it with someone who's new onboarded once they've created an account for them, and then they can just go ahead and go through this experience. So as you can see here, we're greeted with a form. So this would be your typical form from onboarding, and John was doing this all on paper. So it's just a bit of a nightmare to manage and get people to sign things, whereas now he's just digitized the whole process. So I can then easily, if I'm a new manager, put in my name, preferred name, and just say Eldon, and then put in my contact information in there as well. Just say, 07 XYZ, and then just put in a phone number. On top of that, I can enter in all the information that's needed. So things like my date of birth. So if I just put, I was born on the 2nd of April, and also the start date as well. So I can just input that in. But then what John has done as well is instead of overwhelming people with just, let's say, a sheet of paper or an app with all the information, is segregated the information into different sections. So that way it's following more of a business process flow. So you can make sure that the quality of data that he's getting is exactly, exactly in the order that he needs it. And also people have completed every single bit as well before submitting. So emergency contact, then I can just put, let's say Craig in there as my emergency contact, and then just put a number in there. And then to make the experience a little bit easier as well, they've been able to put stuff like, the type of relationship the person has with that person as well. So you can just put that information in there as well. So having drop downs across that as well. So yeah, we can leave that as is at the moment. And the next bit that's really interesting, and this is something that John really wanted, was the ability to have, almost like a profile for all of the information he was collecting. Because a lot of the times when John then had auditing, he had to ravage through all the paper to say, okay, which paper related to that person? Okay, I found it. I found the form. Okay, so what documents were attached to that? And it just became really a lot of fuss and a lot of issues, and his HR team was not able to react with it quite fast. Whereas with this new system now, it allows him and also it allows the people that are onboarding to be able to attach documents. So it looks like the computer just as any experience would here. So I'm just going to put these 3 documents in there and say open and attach. And then now they're attached to this entry. So it means whenever the HR team go in and they say, Eldon's, oh, we've had an issue with him, we need to find out his emergency contact. They're able to go into my profile and just find, that it's Craig, emergency contact, have the number. So it's much easier now for John, with new people that I've onboarded, to be able to just quickly get the information out. But then also on the other side is, whenever John gets audited by, the different governing bodies, you can say, well, this is all the evidence that was submitted by Eldon, and this is everything relating to his profile. And so it's made that job a lot easier in terms of onboarding, because there's no more paper trail anymore. And there's just one central secure place for everyone, for the people that need to check and have the security rights to check this information, to be able to find it. So it's just streamlined that whole process for him. And now people are having a much better experience. And also what it means then, I can just click save. And what this will do is it will save this information in the back end system. So HR can access it. And then also myself, as someone new who's onboarded, if any information ever changes. So let's say me and Craig happen to have a fallout, and I just think, yeah, Craig's not the right person to sponsor me anymore. I'm going to pull Emily, and then, change Emily's number. And then I can just say, yeah, Emily is obviously a partner, as an example, and then I can click save. So, it now updates that information, and it's a portal that I can access anytime and just be able to see my information and protect everyone else's information. But obviously HR can see everyone else's. So it's really allowing his team to stay ahead of the curve in terms of, the experience that everyone's having, and also just reacting to anything that might happen on top of that. And these files, once they've been uploaded, the HR team can have an admin view where they can easily go in, download them, have a view. They can then, speak to the person, be like, oh, that document that you uploaded, let's say a passport, that wasn't quite right. Can you just, change it, or can you bring up a new scan? But then this also brings us to the other part that we talked about. So once this information was inputted, John was really struggling to say, okay, what information do they need, in order for them to really get on board and, for them to understand. So he then created another section again called the onboarding document. So this essentially gave all of the onboarding information that a typical operation manager will need to see, and all in this portal. So as you can see, we have all sorts of documents available here. So we've got operation form, we've got job perks, overtime, and reporting dashboard instructions. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So what this meant now is a new employee can then just simply go in, and you'll open up a document, and you can then see your contract. This just has dummy data for the purpose of the demo, but you can see your contract, have a read of your contract, and just say, yep, perfectly understood that. Go back and have a read of everything else as well. So what John found was happening was that his staff were much better and much quicker at getting operational ready, because I know the time lead normally for getting a new person ready is about 3 months. Normally they say for someone to be operational, but he was able to cut this down by quite a lot, because it became a self-serving kind of experience where you can serve yourself and you can have access to all the information that you need. And as I mentioned before, all of this kind of apps are also portable. So it meant that when an operation manager was on site, he could simply just bring out his or hers corporation phone, go into this experience, select the onboarding, and then just simply find the documents, read up upon it, and then actually act on the very thing that they need to act on as well. So this has now opened up a lot more opportunities, and it's also saved time for the HR team, because the HR team no longer have to do a lot more chasing. It's more now just checking to make sure that it's been done appropriately as well. So it's, again, another win-win where his team are winning and also the HR team are winning. So saving the business quite a lot of time, because the chasing back and forth was taking a lot of time to do. But then I also spoke about the fact that, as a new operational manager, I had no way of kind of getting to know my teammates beforehand, before I went on site. So it was all either, we just meet and then we just have to kind of catch up. Whereas what John has now done, he's created a portal section here where you can find out a little bit more information about the different managers. So as you can see here, we've got the different managers, a picture of them. And I'll just give this a zoom as well, just so you can see it. So yeah, so we've got, a zoom of the picture, who they are, and also just, the name. And then we also have the, title in terms of, what is the job title, and also which location that they work on. So I know that Rose is part of Lane Road. So as a new person onboarding, this became extremely easy for me because I know that, again, if I'm on site and I hear, oh, we did something similar at Sheffield Road, you should phone Camilla, I can easily just say, oh, I know who Camilla is, and then get to know them as well. And then what this portal also does is it connects to obviously Office 365. Again, what this whole thing is about for John is making sure that everything's all working in one. So here we have options to be able to email Camilla, send a Teams message to Camilla, or if you're using a mobile device to phone them as well using the physical number that they have. So this made it easy also on site and also onboarding as well. And then just a little bit of a profile, just getting to know the person and just a little bit of background about them and some of the information about them. So as the new people were onboarding, it was just extremely easy to really put faces to people that they were working with, to also contact them if they had any queries while they're on site, but also to set up meetings like one-on-one meetings with them to just have a conversation and just have a talk. So it broke the ice a little bit, much easier and much quicker with having this experience as well. So now John found himself, in a much better place with his operation onboarding, and he was also planning to add a lot more things. So you can add things like videos, corporate videos relating to this as a playlist. And you can also add things like the ability to interact with the HR team and also validation with the HR team, status report to say whether it's been validated by the HR as well. So it opened up a lot more opportunities for John with his onboarding that he could quickly scale up and update as he was getting more staff in and also getting more feedback in. So this is what the Power Up did for him and his team. But then once John had completed this, he realized he had a second problem, which was, in the previous videos, we talked about how John's team were tracking all of the issues that were coming in from the separate properties. So they had a SharePoint list for that. Essentially, that was just a database list. But the issue with the list was it wasn't giving them as much insight as they wanted. So they really wanted to dig into it, and they wanted something that was quite interactive. And they wanted something which, when they sat down as a team and were speaking, they could say, well, at that time, at that o'clock, this issue happened, and we can see kind of the correlation, whether during the month or during the time of that as well. So this gave birth to another application which you can easily find on your Office 365 waffle here, which is Power BI. So Power BI, and essentially what Power BI is a resource that you can use to unlock insight from your data. So it allows you to create dashboards whereby you can, optimize it to say, I want to query the data and I want to interact with it. And also you can, run what are called measures that compare the previous month to the next month. So in our case, John could, compare the other months to the other months as well. So this was made, again, available in the onboarding process. Again, another way to make it easy for someone to quickly understand the landscape that they were dealing with. So if I click on this button here, saying launch dashboard, this will then open up a separate window, which is obviously our Power BI report. So wait for that to load, but I have this pre-opened if this takes too long, but let's just give that a second on there. Perfect. So this then opened up our Power BI report. So what is happening is the operation managers are on site and they have a form where they can report incidences that are reported by the residents, and then it'll feed this information into a SharePoint list, as I mentioned, which is our data source, and then it will bring it into here, which is obviously our dashboard. And for John, this just allows him to, have conversations with his team and also just have an overview while he's in the office to say what is happening with my team and when and what sort of incidents are occurring. So I'll just give you a bit of a tour on the side here, which is obviously we've got the total number of incidences that have happened, the severity of these incidences, and then we've also got the location of those incidences as well, and then the type, just a detail on there. But then the value for John was being able to track the number of incidences that are happening, because he wanted to keep this number quite low. As you can see, this is obviously given that curve across the month. And also we can, do a bit more drilling into this as well, which I'm going to do now. So everything that you see here you're able to interact with it in some way, and the data reacts to it. So it means that for John, he can quickly have discussions, and also the team, they can quickly just see the trends that are happening. So if I was to click onto high severity, it then filters completely and shows high severity. So we can see that our Derby Street is not doing so well because there's about 12 high severity incidences that have happened from August to December. So for John, that just means, anytime October next year, potentially he might have to have a lot more operation managers on the ground because, Derby Street seems to be quite, out of the norm compared to the rest of it as well. But then one thing which you can do a little bit more is, you can then kind of see the information to say, okay, so these are the incidences that are happening. What type of incidents are they? So you can see that there's quite a lot of medical emergencies that are happening, missing person. So it's giving John and the team really a lot more context. And then also it's next across that there's time there as well. So they can, plan for next year a lot better in terms of, how can we just make sure that, these incidents don't occur again, or if they do, that we're ready and we're there on site as a comparison. So on top of that as well, they have the ability to filter even further. So as I mentioned there, they can filter by the type of incidences that they want to filter to see, but then they can also filter by managers. So, if John wants to see which manager really needs a lot more support when it comes to these incidences, it's easy as them just saying, let's filter by PEP as a comparison, and then we can see PEP stats in there as well. And because this is an overview page, we haven't built this in, but what John could have done is a comparison across managers. So you can create a separate page that does that, but I'm just showing the overview. So as you can see here, we can see that, while PEP has been working, he's had a lot of incidences, especially in Lane Road. So that one's been a bit more tricky for him compared to obviously the other ones. So for John, again, it's an opportunity to say maybe, PEP just needs a little bit more training, how to handle some of the stuff that's been happening at Lane Road. And, you can also take a look at exactly the type of incidences that they are. So as you can see from all of this kind of cross use of everything that's available already for you guys in Office 365, you're really able to become a lot more agile and a lot more productive because, you can apply them across multiple scenarios and bring all the data in one place rather than buying something from, let's say, other vendors like Oracle or other vendors that are quite expensive, the subscription, where that data doesn't really talk to the centerpiece that you already have and something you've already purchased. With Office 365, John's team are able to leverage what they have, and they're able to, anything that happens, move that data across with very minimum effort because obviously all of it is all connected, and they're able to just quickly get started and report on that. So those are the two scenarios that I wanted to cover today to kind of show you some of the things that are possible and some of the things that you can do in your digital transformation journey in terms of, having a better experience, whether it's onboarding or any kind of process that, might require an app, but then also having a way to be able to display your data in a much clever way. So that way it can allow you to do what are called data-driven decisions, where everything you're making, there's a legit data reason behind it. And that has been known, especially in the IT industry and other industries as well, to be more effective and also just prove to have better results in terms of your outcomes when you're dealing with data. So that is everything I had to cover today. And again, if you haven't seen the previous recordings, I do recommend it. It gives a lot more meat to the bone as to what we've done, but hopefully that's giving you an idea of some of the things that are possible. So I'll just hand over back to you, Craig.
Thanks, Eldon. Brilliant. Really good as usual. Lots to take away from that. I mean, personally, for me, I'm going to show that one to our HR manager because we are using an external system at the moment that we pay in additional to 365 for, but does exactly the same sort of stuff as you were talking about in there. So so there's possibly a lesson there where we can save ourselves some money. So practice what we preach as well. We've got 2 more webinars, I think, in the series. Next one is streamline your business and delight your customers. And I think on this one, we're looking at Microsoft Flow and Microsoft Magic. Now, Microsoft Magic, I've not heard of before, so I'll be intrigued to kind of have a look at that one. Following on from this, I'll send out an email with the recording to this webinar. I'll send it with links to the other webinars in the series as well. You can also go to our YouTube channel, and I'll get this one up later on today, so everything's on there as well. And I'll get the invites out to the final 2 webinars over the next couple of weeks as well. We've got them organised. I think we've got the right dates so that we miss the bank holiday weekends and weeks and all that kind of thing. So hopefully people won't be on holiday. So that's it from us for today. Thanks very much for attending. As I say, I will ping you an email out. If you've got any feedback for us, please respond to that email, let us know, and that will help us for improving future events as well. So once again, thank you for your time. Thank you to Eldon, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks very much.
See you on the next one, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.